look at it?
Sure. Apologize to the public. We were having technical difficulties. Rise to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I feel like I'm doing that every night.
You are. The next item has to be moved to our next regularly scheduled meeting on the 25th because we can't approve minutes at a special meeting. So the next item is to review the town's tax relief ordinance, Chapter 95, Article 3 of the Town Code, which is available on the town's website.
So can we just look at it?
Sure.
What section?
Well, I'm trying to, like where mine starts, Article 3, the first thing under there is 95-7, is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
We had recommended,
I think we were talking about the,
Program?
deferral, which is
9515.
15.
So
B.
9515B.
That's where we left
Did we ever
off.
decide last time, what were we doing with freeze? Were we gonna,
We had recommended
Should get rid of it?
eliminating it, yeah, because it's just confusing to have the 3 programs, we thought, and there's 0 participants. There have been 0 participants, I think, for 4 consecutive years. And
Did we
it's
talk
just,
about that last time?
we didn't, I don't think that we talked about the freeze program at all.
do we
What program?
Freeze.
freeze?
And that's 9515, subsection A.
You still feel that way?
I'm torn because I do think, like, Rick Grauer had a really interesting idea for a freeze assessment. And, you know, maybe this can be modified to accommodate something like that.
Can we, like, just wait to open up that whole kettle of worms until a later date when we have resolved some of the other issues?
Even talk about it, or,
I just don't wanna put too much energy into solving it, you know, or really
Mhm.
proposing bringing it back, because it's just another moving part, and there's already so much that we have to.
okay, it exists. It's still a
But
program.
it's, okay, so it's still a program,
It's still a program that's offered and people can participate in.
okay. I didn't know that, I thought it was discontinued.
No,
It's not as popular because you can only pick one program.
Okay.
it's very limited,
So
and you
it's
can
still a
only,
program, but it hasn't had no participation for 4 years.
yeah, I have to confirm that, but I think it's been 4 consecutive years.
Yeah, Ross could tell us for sure.
Okay. And the reason people are picking it is because,
It's really constricted, the that you can participate, you can only freeze for 6 years, and you have one time ever that you can ever do that.
Income threshold is 50,600.
50,600?
Is the maximum income.
It can only be done once.
And for 6 years.
Yep.
The age is 65.
Okay.
So I'm seeing zeros for freezes going back to FY 2018.
So we don't know if there's any this year, but
I doubt it,
Yeah, at least it's like 3 years, nothing.
FY
Mm-hmm.
yeah. FY 2018.
18.
And before that, there were a handful of people participating, 5 and 4 participants.
In what year, 2017?
In 2016, there were 5, 2017, there were 4.
They probably maxed out on the years, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the qualifying income is $57,600.
Oh, it is?
Oh,
that is-
57 does.
Oh, the ordinance is wrong then?
Okay.
Yeah, it's not updated yet.
Okay.
They haven't done that
Oh.
codification yet.
Okay. Will they do that this year?
I think Betsy thought it was like any day now. They're
Mhm.
still waiting for that to be uploaded.
57.
Special language. Okay.
So Hannah, you want to just focus on talking about the elements of deferral?
No, so I just kind of, have gone over the first few things, the eligibility. I just briefly went through it here. Special language amounts, I'm just looking at what's in the ordinance. If there's a purpose, if the guidelines for eligibility, the actual application, and then the amounts that are discussed that are in the ordinance, right? That are not necessarily updated, but were updated during, 2019, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then some very special language per parcel of property, limited to eligible persons, effect on other benefits. So I haven't looked into any of that.
You're talking about just like the overall program?
Yeah, just
Okay.
looking at what's on this piece of, on the table here for Article 3.
Mm.
Well, and also it was updated in 2021. Yeah.
But it isn't fully updated.
Amended portion.
Committee updated it in 2021?
Oh, those were the Board of Finance revisions.
Oh, okay,
That the RTM voted on, and we did that last spring.
okay.
The good news is the income limits are proper on the site, the website, even though they're not in the ordinance. At least they're on the website.
Yeah, that's
Read.
good.
Well, it says where it was amended in March 2020, 22nd, 2021. It gives all the amended portions.
Right, okay.
It also gives amended portions back to 2018. There's the tax deferral was amended in 2020.
That was for
2/24/20.
the stuff that, Dave came to us
Yeah,
about, the lien.
right. So, and then, obviously, the credit was amended last year.
Can you explain what that means?
So, let's see,
In 2020?
in 2020, the tax collector said that he was having a problem with the way it was written for the collection. It was unclear and ambiguous when he was supposed to collect after someone had died. And, we tightened that language.
Okay. Got it.
It was, number 2, I think, right?
Yeah,
That's section B-2.
Which section?
B-2, 95-15 B-2. The collection.
All deferral benefits plus
Tax
interest.
relief programs, right? And then-
There are a couple wonky elements with deferral that have always stood out, and one of them is how it has a different limit than any of the other programs, and that it also limits the deferral to 50% of someone's taxes.
Yeah, sorry, I still haven't found the ordinance. that you
Oh.
Oh,
sent me, Mark.
95-15,
Okay, so I'm in 15 now.
and then B, Two.
15
B,
B.
okay, that's what I was.
yeah, all
B and
deferral
then two.
benefits.
B2, all deferral benefits. Oh, okay, that was what was tightened up, okay.
So the age is a wonky thing, 75 or older, 50% of gross tax, that's why it's not attractive.
Yeah, and I think that also the income limit isn't that much higher than what the credit limit is, and it can be lifted to make it more appealing to,
So now we're looking at deferral.
yeah.
Yes.
89,000, right, is the income?
You know, the whole point is that we are going to have to mitigate impact. So the changing of the age on this is going to have to be probably calculated to make sure that we don't affect or impact the budget too much.
But ultimately, it wouldn't be affecting the budget.
Right,
There would be a few
absolutely.
years where
Right,
it
but we
needs
don't
to be
wanna-
smoothed over. Yeah,
Right, but we know that we had a problem, we were smart, and that may be where the flexibility needs to be, is on how that age limit is, you know, it takes time, rather than changing it suddenly.
but no, but what did we have a problem with? You mean in terms of the credit program?
Yeah, and there being more of an impact on the budget than was intended.
But that's very different than this, with the deferral, because the credit program was an immediate impact. It's out of our pockets, literally.
I know, but this will be immediately on.
And it was on top of a revow.
I understand, but, you know, it's gonna take some adjustment to just, you know, really sell the point that this will still be on our books in the deferral program, as opposed to being just a loss. But, you know, I definitely wanna make sure that we don't, you know, have too much of an impact.
I think we definitely need to vet it and have all of the data. Like, it's great
Yeah.
that the FSA
I
gave
agree,
us
yeah.
information about the breakdown of number of our demographics, numbers of,
Yeah.
seniors in each age bracket,
Exactly.
to try to, and they thought what the immediate impacts could be, but I don't think that we should be too conservative about it, because I think that this tax deferral
Well, let's-
issue has been lingering.
Let's just wait and see what the issue is, because the whole point of it being set at the age limit that it currently is obviously to mitigate the impact. So we just have to understand that that's why the ordinance is written this way, and be careful with it as we change it.
But they had always intended to lower it,
Got it.
and they thought that there were going to be a lot more participants than what there are right now. And so right now, we have, 3 deferral participants. And they had anticipated it being a healthy program like Westport, where most of the people participating in
Were deferred.
tax relief are
Yeah,
deferral.
I completely wanna move in that direction, I agree, I just wanna make sure we don't have 2 holes going at the same time, that it moves over.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I
We have 2 immediate losses on the books that the sum total is much larger than
Mhm.
expected.
That's the thing, it's like we don't know a lot of this until we
Well,
actually put it
but,
into
I
practice
mean-
and then smooth it over the following year if needed.
We know that if we
We can do it in
change the
tiers.
age drastically, that would
Drastically,
definitely
yeah.
have-
Go from 75 to 70 and then to 65 in 3 years or something.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I just don't think that it should be
I would
like,
definitely
Tiered
prefer to have a
approach.
lot more data before we venture to make a recommendation on that.
just lowering the age.
Yeah, look at lowering the age is the key. Yeah.
And what was your suggestion, Mark? I didn't hear you.
Tiered from 75 to 70, which I think we have some information that
So
there
are you
are.
officially suggesting that as a recommendation?
It's a conversation, I don't
I'm
think
gonna
it's
open up the conversation to,
As
doing a
conversation.
Yeah.
tiered approach, where we recommend in 2023, that we lower the age to 70. And at some other point, then we
It takes a real,
lower the age to 65.
I haven't done any research on other towns, I'd be curious.
that, we definitely should incorporate that.
Yeah.
Because I think it would help support our case for lowering the age. I think that we're an anomaly
What's the
for,
age in Westport?
I think it's 65.
65, right?
So, can we gather that information?
It takes a really long,
Yeah, we
Yes,
have,
we
we
should
should
do
look
that.
at towns tonight that we wanna look at. We should think about towns we want, other than Westport and some other neighboring towns. We talk about this a lot, and Jill did some background work on a lot of, not necessarily deferral, but you did a lot of work on like programs.
So Westport is
Yeah,
suggested as
okay.
well?
There's your chart.
So far, just Westport. Maybe we could like crank out like 10 towns that we wanna like actually like look at. There, you have it on like email specifically for our next meeting.
yeah, so in 2018, Westport had 95 participants in their deferral. You know, they're a much smaller town. And they had 263 participants in their credit program.
Say this again?
Westport in 2018,
You have it on like email.
95 participants in their deferral program and 263 participants in their credit program. They only have those two, but they allow people to participate in both at the same time. And I don't see an age limit.
Combo deal.
You know, Jill, if you could send me that chart, I could update it for our next
Okay.
meeting.
Okay,
Yeah. You have it on like email, right? Or just scan it to me or something.
okay.
Yeah. Because I'd like to just cover, like, see if those changed and use the towns. What towns were we including
You
in
have
that?
to have
We
it
summary?
saved somewhere.
Honestly, this is so long ago.
Yeah, I remember.
I
4
think
years
this is on an
ago.
old
4 years.
laptop that I don't even have anymore.
Oh, boy.
So, it was, Fairfield, Fairfield, Darien, Easton, Farmington, Glastonbury, Greenwich, Newtown, Reading, Ridgefield, Trumbull, West Hartford, Weston, Westport, and Wilton.
I'm gonna get a copy of that, right?
Can you read them again, just so I wanna like write them down?
Yeah,
Okay.
from the beginning.
Westport, Fairfield,
Fairfield, Darien, Easton, Farmington, Glastonbury, Greenwich, New Canaan, Newtown, Reading, Ridgefield, Trumbull, West Hartford, Weston, Westport, and Wilton.
Got it. Okay.
And, you know, West Hartford, Greenwich, those are most comparable
Do you
to
have
us
15
in
there?
size.
15 in all?
Weston?
15 towns? Yeah.
I didn't get, I got one.
I'll get them for you.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Part.
I have Darien.
Including
I had
Fairfield.
9, but I left out.
Okay, we have Westport,
Huh?
Fairfield,
Well, I left out Westport, because we already discussed it. Go ahead.
Fairfield, Darien,
Uh-huh,
Easton, Farmington,
uh-huh,
Glastonbury,
Yep.
Greenwich,
okay.
New Canaan, Weston, Wilton,
Do you remember that?
West Hartford, Trumbull,
The same one.
Newtown, Reading, and Ridgefield.
I have it somewhere.
We've heard-
I
Part.
have Darien.
We kind of like remembered them as you say.
I took
Yeah.
everything out of this file I have and I threw it in a basket.
Yeah,
I should break it back out.
I copied you.
Bethel, no.
You always have the
That's a good one
notebook.
to add, maybe. Bethel.
What's going on? You're slacking.
Not the vice chair.
I got it.
I'll get it for you.
I left out.
No, no.
No, it's Indian.
Yeah,
You sure?
Yeah.
Let's include them all, we could report them. I mean, I scribbled it.
it's a spare part.
I have Darien, Easton, obviously, Westport. Darien, Easton, Farmington, Glastonbury, Ridgefield, Trumbull, Wilton.
Wait, Ridgefield, wait, Trumbull.
I went out of order from you,
That's
but
okay.
West Hartford, Greenwich, New Canaan, Weston, Newtown, and what did you,
Reading,
Bill, Do you have anything that you
Fairfield,
wanted to add
We are
in terms of the
Well, yeah, just in the chart.
towns that you
for-
think that we're comparable
That's
to?
No,
I
I think you
think
covered
that's it.
most of them, especially West
Okay.
Hartford, which is always,
Especially
you know,
West Hartford?
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So we have all that data.
Well,
Oh,
it's not
it's
updated in
old.
4 years, so
Oh.
I'll work on that before the May 25th meeting, just to like include it,
Okay.
update it into a chart. Mark used to be our chart guy, but he's busy lately.
I can still be your chart guy, I just,
I'll send what I have in my chart, and you could edit my chart if it looks like floppy or not
Okay.
put together.
busy lately.
It might be easier to just like focus on the deferral piece.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not gonna be, it's just gonna be deferral chart,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I just think we should definitely
Yeah, to see how,
stick to one thing at a time so that people don't.
Yeah. how do you eat an elephant?
Hard
One
enough,
bite at a
hard
time.
enough to get people to agree to like the time, you know.
So that's homework for next month, next week almost, 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's really close.
And then, what else do we wanna talk about today?
Well, another element that really needs to be fixed in this process is the review process. And that's, I mean, I don't think that we can let that go longer. Really, I think that we have to, come up with language that's acceptable to us and Board of Finance and figure out a way to conduct these kinds of reviews together.
In the assessor's office, or you mean afterward?
Jointly with the assessor too, but I don't think that, I'm willing to do this work now, in the hopes of making good changes, but it was incredibly frustrating the last time when we put so much work into it and it was turned over to the Board of Finance and we had it was just a push and pull between the two bodies, and our work was completely thrown out the window. And it's inefficient, doesn't make any sense. So I think that we should all be kind of studying it at the same time, unless they're going to respect our work on it. But I think that, you know, it's better for the town. There's nothing compelling either one of our bodies to work together, but it's what's better for the town to do that.
So we added that in 21, no? Or,
Which, the review?
This, well,
Where are you looking?
95-15-4?
No,
Who added this?
that is not in there, and I told Betsy that
That's
No,
not, that
we
was not
didn't
approved,
approve
right?
that. Nope.
4?
Well, it says 95-15.4, Senior
we on
Disabled
something
Tax
else
Relief Committee
completely now?
initiation.
No, deferral, right?
Oh, we're on RTM review 95-15.4. Just wanted to say, like, you were saying that we should limit it only to deferral. And I understand that we should do things in small bites. But at the same time, the review process is integral to whatever anyone can do
Okay.
going forward.
And then you made some sort of statement about that it was important to do a review because of some issue with the Board of Finance and the wording, but I didn't quite understand.
Well, we need to hash it out and figure out how we're going to conduct
And
review.
where is the issue of the wording that's under contention?
It's in this ordinance,
Okay, so are we
95,
talking B, are we talking 95-15B, number 4?
no,
Okay, where are you?
We're down at 95-15.4.
.4.
Well, but they're under B, oh, I see. Okay,
Will that be more helpful
What are
once we
you
get the
looking
report?
at?
No, I got it.
This isn't,
So
Is
this
this-
is senior
does
and
this come
disabled
up with
tax relief
just when you pull up the
committee
code?
initiative?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. When did we get to start this? Okay. So you have an issue with the wording here?
I have to pull up, because when I,
What does yours say? This,
Yeah, that's what
at
mine
the
says.
top,
Yeah.
code? You have the same thing in there, right?
Yeah. Code.
when I looked into it, it was, in a queue, waiting to be codified, and I notified Betsy that we didn't approve that. And she said, oh, no, that's not getting codified. I know.
What?
95-15.4.
I'm there,
See, that whole thing right there,
the whole paragraph.
yes.
Right, so now I'm gonna read it to try to figure out what the problem is. When either the assessor, the Board of Finance, or the RTM, in each case by majority vote, believes revisions should be made to Article 3, this tax code, he, she shall make request for the Board of Finance to review. The Board of Finance shall create a 3-person committee, no more than 2 members from the same party, and then make a recommendation to the Board of Finance. It's up to them to determine the changes. And then a joint committee, right, shall be formed, tasked with recommending these changes.
This was not approved.
Okay,
This was not approved.
is the joint committee here new?
It never was formed.
It was never, they wrote this language without consulting us.
The Board of Finance did.
And
Board of Finance, Senior and Disabled Tax Relief Committee.
and I can't even say they, because it was supposed to be done through their joint committee, but only one person wrote this language, and it was done after they had convened their Board of Finance joint committee review, and it was after I had mentioned in our legislation and administration review that this is an aspect that needed to be worked on. And so this wasn't even fully voted on by their committee when this was
You offering me water?
tried to be incorporated into this ordinance.
Okay.
I knew it'd be warm. So it says added, so you're saying that Betsy,
That is a
So
huge
I'm just gonna
mistake,
say
and that's something I've
representative-
talked to her about, and I don't know how that happened, because before, it was in a queue,
Mhm.
and I saw language to be added right when we were starting our work, actually, and I said to her, this was not voted on and approved. The only thing that was voted on by the RTM was the credit table, period.
Mhm.
That was it. And she said, I know, and it wasn't going to be incorporated.
Gotta be fixed.
Okay, so the language in the paragraph was in a queue, what does that mean?
All of the changes that had been submitted to the RTM, regardless of whether we had approved them or not, were listed as changes made. On the side, I don't even know how to explain it, but it was like a, it hadn't been incorporated yet fully into our code. It was in ordinances waiting to be codified, I don't know.
Waiting to be discussed or codified?
Mm-hmm. And I didn't understand that since that was definitely not voted on, and I didn't understand why it was even showing up at all. So
But these were never voted on.
these were not voted on.
And, sorry, Mark, were you on the committee at the time too?
This committee?
Yes,
Yes,
okay. So,
and,
I was,
you both,
yeah,
we've both been on for 5
so you are both corroborating this?
yes.
mischievous the way she said it.
It did.
Corroborating.
Well, this came to the RTM. This had nothing to do with us.
So the language that's currently there was never approved?
No,
Okay, and was it supposed to be approved by the RTM?
it was potentially going to be, and it was taken off the table. If anybody
For further
watches
discussion.
if anybody watches the meeting at all, you would see it was not voted on,
What we voted on was
the table.
C, tax credit, if you go up. That's what the RTM voted on and approved, and this was taken off.
Okay.
I
So
think I will sniff C just for fun.
what was voted on was tax credit, okay.
Correct.
Just C 95.15. I'll look to sniff.
Okay, from where down is it a problem?
The entire thing. The
Okay.
entire thing is a revision to what existed before.
Okay, so is, like, you know how there's like C, and there's 1 and 2, right? And then that's the end of that part. Did you vote on that whole part?
No,
Oh,
no, the whole thing is, no.
Okay, so, but Mark said you did vote on one of the tax credit things.
C.
C.
Okay, so C has
C,
a 1 and a 2.
you voted on it too.
Okay.
You're on the RTM, right?
Oh,
You
we
vote-
all voted on it.
We all voted on it,
Okay, so C has a 1 and a 2.
correct.
Okay, and so we, through the end of 2 is what we voted on?
Correct.
Okay, hang on, let me just archive that. Okay,
Well, I mean, none of this was changed except for the numbers in the table.
Right. That
So
was,
all we really voted on was the numbers in the table.
oh,
yes. It wasn't extensive.
but when was the entire tax credit and that portion voted on? Is that language included in what the RTM voted on, 1 and 2 of C?
We'd have to go back to the meeting, but we voted on, I don't remember, how long ago was that meeting?
It was a year ago.
It was March of 21, right?
We
August.
only voted on the table.
Table, from what I remember.
I don't think
So
any
what was
other
the vote?
word was
What was the vote about?
revised.
Just to change the.
It was just the tax credit percentages due
change the
and the
percentage.
cap.
Percentages and the caps.
They didn't even, I don't even think that they recalculated the brackets, because if you see like that higher bracket covers a lot more income than any other. They didn't even fix that. So it's like 50,000 to 70,000 in the chart in the code. It would
Okay.
be a little different in,
So you're saying that the bracket is incorrect in the table?
no, I'm just
No.
saying that it wasn't corrected. They didn't correct anything, they just changed the percentages of tax due and the caps, period. That was it.
Okay, and the brackets are incorrect, or they are correct?
Well, the brackets are problematic because they're imbalanced and unequal, so the highest bracket covers a huge portion of people. It's a huge category. It
You
goes
mean the
from,
poorest people?
No.
it goes from 57,000 to 79,000,
Over
whereas,
$20,000 spread.
you know,
Oh, I see, okay.
The rest of them are 8, 7, 6 something,
Thousand.
6,000.
is this a ladybug or a tick?
What?
It's nothing.
It's dry.
No, it's moving.
It's in
It's
menopause.
moving.
Okay, but.
It's not a tick.
Jill, what I'm
Is it a
trying to
tick?
find out, is there a problem legally with the way the brackets are, or was this what was
Legally,
voted on?
no, but it is
Okay,
problematic.
but this, what's in there is what was voted on.
That's what was
Okay,
voted
that's the
on.
issue I'm trying to get at
Yeah.
right now.
Should I finish
Okay.
it?
No.
Okay. Mark!
Of all places to land.
Was it alive?
I think it went off me.
Was it alive?
Well, it's moving.
Yes!
It was a tick.
It was totally a tick and he threw it onto the ground.
I'll burn it.
Oh, my God.
And he crawling up Cindy's leg.
I don't have a match.
It was not a
Where did
tick.
it come
It was
from?
a tick.
I'm wearing a.
I don't
It
know.
was not a,
In the room?
it was not a tick.
Yeah, it was on the table.
It wasn't a tick.
They can't climb up my skinny jean. There's no room.
Push my feet up.
Okay. All right, so I just want to read what's at the end of 2 there. Shall be adjusted annually. This is probably just what was left from the previous ordinance. It wasn't addressed, right? Number 2, under C?
The one that says amounts, the
Yes,
amounts?
the amounts of qualifying income. That it'll be looked at on a yearly level, and the first October.
That's the COLA increase.
What?
That's the COLA increase.
And so that's correct, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me.
So 1 and 2.
I mean, it's also important to ask Ross whether this language about the prior tax credit, terms, whether that really needs to be included still. I don't know if anyone is still participating who was in the program before the program changed in 2012, like the previous amendment.
Okay, but that's like a little petty thing that isn't important right now.
Yeah, but I think that we
Okay.
should just like track everything that we want
Mhm.
to,
Okay.
Correct.
I'm trying to arrange things by what's important. So you want that on the record, that at one time, that you want to look at that language?
it's a question that I have for Ross. Yes, I will definitely be asking him to give an update on how many people participate in our program who are functioning under the previous
Ordinance
tax
changes,
plan.
Okay.
which were incorporated in 2013, voted on in 12.
All right, and which is the wording that you're concerned about?
It's right under the chart for prior credit option participants, and then whatever follows.
But it will not be less.
I think it's important for us to understand how many people are in the program who are, their credits are guided by different percentages than what exists on this table, and we're using the old system.
Okay, but that line under there, it's just, it's giving them a baseline.
Yeah, and so do we need to even do that if there's nobody who's
No one's being
participating?
hurt by having it included.
Yeah, I mean,
It's just, what
why
Jill was
would you
saying,
have language in there that
if
is
nobody's in there, we don't need it
unnecessary?
in there.
And they will
Okay.
never need
If
to
nobody's
use
in
it
that category anymore,
if nobody is participating who was pre-2012.
then we could get rid of that language,
Okay.
okay? Yeah, it's not necessary, but maybe we still have a couple,
Yeah, it's definitely possible, but
so we need to ask Ross that question. Right?
Yeah.
I would like to. I
think
just
we
like
should,
to
yeah.
know the details of what money, like who's participating and just details of,
Yeah, it's just a number to us, not names and addresses, it's just a number.
Okay.
All right, so
So,
where are
But
we?
your main point is that you're concerned about, I'm trying to get where the part is you're concerned about. That was your real upset, right? So through 15.1, the report by the assessor, through severability, through when effective, we're all okay. It's only the 15.4 that's the problem, correct?
Yes,
Correct.
that didn't exist before.
Okay. So you all agree to that?
Yes.
Yes. And you will too, when you see the,
Okay.
when you see the meeting,
Hmm.
or review the minutes. Right? Last thing I wanna do is watch an RTM.
I don't wanna watch that meeting again, that was painful.
All right, and that goes down to, okay, the end of that, and so 15.5 is the last thing, right?
Yep.
Okay. Okay,
So just
is
to,
there more than that, or that's, because it just ends so abruptly, okay?
that's it, just to recap. We're gonna look at other towns for the deferral. See what their programs are, what the, different cutoffs are, what the age cutoff are, what the incomes are. We're gonna look at the bottom of the tax credit table, get Ross, if they're still participants from, based on 2012, 2013 qualification levels. And we're gonna discuss with Betsy this, 95-15.4, why it's in there, because it was not approved,
Okay.
right?
Yes, I am going to do that last item immediately.
Okay?
I think Betsy's away, right?
Yeah, she is
For
away
how
this week,
long?
till next week. She'll be
Okay,
back Monday.
okay.
You're gonna do the,
Yeah, I'll send you the chart and you can pretty it out if you want.
okay.
If not, we'll just do it less pretty.
I think I'd like
Do you
to
have the
table-
input from last time, or you
No,
wanna?
she's gonna scan it to me.
Okay.
I love that stuff. I love, like, know what other towns are doing.
You probably have, do you have it, that chart?
I don't think so.
No?
Not with me, no.
No, I don't have it with me either, but I think we have it, but, okay.
Uh,
Carry on.
I'd like to table the discussion of the assessor's, June 2020 report until we
Yeah.
have Ross before
June
us.
2021?
Yeah,
Yep,
2021. And hopefully he will join us for the next meeting,
Do you think
and
it'd be
maybe he can give us
ideal?
a sneak peek
Sneak
to
peek.
the next report.
okay.
We should probably ask him that, like, tomorrow,
Okay,
so that in 2 weeks he has something to show, or at least his presence here via WebEx or in person.
Okay.
He's attended like a third of our meetings in the past, before COVID, and, it's always a good resource, especially when we have public comment.
Okay, so we're checking with Betsy as to why language that wasn't voted on is included?
yes.
Okay.
I've spoken to her about this before, and she pretty, I thought she knew this issue,
Yeah.
so.
Okay. And who edited that document? She did?
She's the one who submits it to the company that integrates it onto
Oh, okay.
the town code.
But someone might have sent her an edited version or something?
We don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. Maybe it was just a mistake. Okay.
Okay, and so I'd also like to invite Gordon McKenzie to our next meeting to discuss the demographics chart he's worked on,
Mhm.
which will be so helpful to, while you're putting together the deferral information. To have
Mhm.
all of that information in one chart will be really great.
Gordon has a chart?
Yes, he's been working on a chart. I thought I sent it to everybody.
This
Maybe
one?
you did.
That's a part of it, but he has a larger chart that he's compiled demographics on a bunch of these different towns that,
On their deferral program?
no, just population
believe I have that in the email from you.
I don't see it, but.
Can you send it to the committee again?
Yeah, I'll resend it.
Thank you.
Um,
Is my brain dead?
I probably am
You
too.
sure you sent it?
Maybe not.
'Cause I don't see any.
Sometimes you can't see it on like your phone, you know?
When would you have sent it? No, it's,
Relatively recently.
all I have is that has that.
It sounds so
that image
familiar,
on
is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
it.
so did Cindy agree to do all these action items?
I only agreed to do update the chart with the
Okay.
15 towns. And extra credit for Bethel, you said.
Jill is doing the other two.
Okay.
And she'll invite the guests.
When she invites Ross, she's gonna ask him about that. 2012, 2013, right?
Okay, sure.
That's a lot of homework. We
I
can
won't-
talk to our guests soon.
I can't make the next meeting, so, you know, giving you guys all the homework.
I used to love homework when I was a kid. Big backpack full of homework.
Okay, and, I'd like to take it out to public comment to see whether anyone would like to make any sort of statements about what's been discussed, or if you have anything to add that you'd like us to review.
I'd like to add something. Jill, Gordon had sent a chart,
Can you just give your name and address for the secretary?
oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Bill Lenahan, Lenahan, 42 Alma Drive, ALMA Drive, Fairfield.
Thanks.
Okay, Gordon had indicated that, and Jill, you had questioned him, between seniors 70 to 74, there are 2,362. Now, we don't know whether they're heads of households or owned households or rentals. And so if
Okay.
he got back to us, then you could eliminate, that would be your maximum, but you could clarify with Ross and find out how many people in the program are 70 to 74, and once you do the subtraction, that would be your maximum amount that could possibly, and I say possibly, participate in a deferral program if the age was reduced. So if it's 2362 now, and
Yeah.
Ross indicates how many, and if there all of those are head of households, heads of households, if you subtracted whoever's in the current credit program, I think you could probably make an assumption that if they're in the credit program, they may not jump over into the deferral program. So you'd have a basis for a guesstimate of how many people might participate.
Right.
Okay.
And I have a question, the assessors report, will that be public? Is that going to be on the town website?
It always is. It's usually in the RTM's backup, and this report that we were going to be discussing was on our agenda. I don't think I hyperlinked it to this one, but it should have been in the previous agenda. But it's for the June backup from 2021 before the RTM.
Okay, all right, thank you. And I also want to
Usually-
thank everybody here tonight for all the work and your participation.
RTM's backup.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for all of your help.
Yes.
Well, Gordon is the one that does a lot of work. He's been putting hours in on the charts.
Yeah, well, I think everyone from FSA has been very helpful, and it's helping us to kind of like move the work forward. Thank you.
Well, we're appreciative of your committee.
Thanks.
Thanks, Bill.
And sorry, we had technological problems.
Sorry we made you wait.
I thought I was doing
Jeopardy
something wrong.
Mhm.
So hopefully we'll get everything streamlined for the next meeting.
Mhm.
But, I think that's it.
That's it.
Perfect.
Anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn at 8:01.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye now. Good night.
care.